We can now go ahead and turn our attention to slide 5, making internships work. And here really what we're going to talk about, just some of the basics around what you need to be thinking about to make the most of your internship experience. First, getting a good internship up and running is simpler than you think. A lot of people are really overwhelmed by the prospect of bringing an intern in and how much planning it might take, how to navigate the college campus scene, etc. But with the assistance available to you from the Columbus Chamber, it can really be made to be quite simple. First thing you need to start with, though, is a meaningful and challenging assignment. If you don't have a good set of project opportunities lined up, you really may want to rethink whether or not an intern is the best way to go for you. And these projects and opportunities need to be predefined. This is not kind of a make-it-up-as-you-go type of scenario. First of all, it's going to be very hard to attract a very good candidate without being able to articulate during the selection process what they'd be given the opportunity to work on. And as part of developing the posting and the job description process, we would talk through what projects, tasks, and responsibilities the intern would be given to do. The other thing to consider, back to a conversation we had earlier, was really the compensation component. And we talked about how paying a wage is not a requirement, but certainly if you're in the position to do so, you should. The reason we titled this bullet Compensation and Beyond is to be thinking about the other ways you can compensate your intern. The other way that they might be able to gain access to benefits, if you will, of working with you. What might some of those things be that aren't true hourly wage type of things? Well, what are the products and services that you offer to your customers? Is there a way to make available those same products and services in kind of an in-kind fashion to your intern? If you offer training or awareness sessions that are relevant to the intern, allow them to go to the session for free. If you have opportunities in the form of events or sponsorship activity where your intern could gain access to people that they haven't already met, encourage bringing them along. There's just so many things that would be beneficial from the perspective of an intern. The other thing might be as well is that if you're going to ask the intern to travel for any reason as part of the job, you should definitely consider, reimbursing them for mileage, any parking fees they may want to pick up, that kind of thing. Again, if I'm an intern considering your opportunity, you may have a highly attractive role. Maybe it's unpaid, and I want the job. But as soon as you tell me that maybe I'm going to be on the road once a week, and now I'm having to incur expenses for an unpaid internship, that might present one more barrier to entry for me. So you want to do everything you can to remove or eliminate those barriers altogether. Give serious consideration to appointing a supervisor and or mentor. Somebody is going to need to oversee the work that the intern is going to be asked to do. And is this intern going to have daily interaction with the supervisor? Not necessarily, but probably at least weekly check-ins would be important. And the better the plan, the better the work outline, possibly the less dependence on a supervisor. But still, part of the coaching and development process is really contingent upon the strength of a supervisory relationship. So somebody needs to be appointed to oversee the work of the intern. The mentor role is going to look a little different. You could have a supervisor and mentor for that reason. The mentor is likely someone different than the supervisor, and their primary responsibility is really around coaching and developing the intern, being there for questions that may not be specific to what they've been asked to do, but really speak more to navigating their way through your organization successfully every day, coming to understand some of the unwritten rules, if you will, that are really critical to know if you're going to be successful there every day. Another key component, we touched upon this earlier, is making sure that the intern is included in regular meetings or events. The very blatant exclusion really speaks to how you're not considering them part of the larger team. So staff meetings, committee meetings, project meetings, whatever it might be, extend them an invitation. At least ask them, would you like to attend? This goes for events as well that possibly you might be participating in. If you attend professional organization meetings, if you participate in other committee meetings outside the workplace, encourage the intern to come along. It's only going to contribute that much more to their learning experience and their overall development. Really take a perspective of what's in it for the intern. That's where that WIFM acronym comes from. What's in it for me? That's what they're going to be constantly asking themselves around the proposition of joining your organization as an intern. What's in it for me? What's in it for me could be an opportunity to earn a wage, and that could be just enough. If the wage is not part of it, then there's an even larger onus on the employer to really articulate the benefits of this internship. I've seen a lot of great internships developed with some really meaningful and meaty opportunities associated with them. But it's important that they're really fleshed out and well articulated. And the final point is really around this being win-win. If for some reason this isn't win-win from the perspective of the employer and the intern, it's not going to be a healthy relationship. And I think it starts first with the employer asking themselves, will we benefit from bringing an intern in? Will we advance our business agenda? Will we get things done that aren't getting done today? And if the answer is no, step back and reconsider. But if it's a resounding yes, then go for it. And then make sure that you can put together a compelling story around why interning with you is going to be a win-win from the perspective of the intern. Turning our attention now to slide 6. And these are just a few millennial fast facts. If you haven't spent a lot of time reading about Gen Y, the millennial generation, here's just a few things you should know about them. And this information varies a little bit depending on the source, but for the most part, we assume that the millennials were born somewhere in the time period 1980 through 2000. There's approximately 76 million millennials. Now, that's the largest generation since the baby boomers. So that's why this generation is getting so much attention, is that the generation that precedes them, Gen X, is about half that size. And clearly with the impending retirement of many baby boomers, the Gen Xers just will not be large enough from a sheer number standpoint to replace them. And again, a primary driver why so much attention is being put on the millennials, because they really do represent the workforce of the future. They're tech savvy, they're looking for a challenge. Feedback and recognition are key. This isn't a nice to have from the perspective of a millennial, it really is a must have. So if you're ill prepared to offer feedback to your intern, if you're ill prepared to provide recognition when it's deserved, you may want to reconsider this. They're looking to do well and do good. The social consciousness of the millennials is very high. So if you are in a business that has a social element to it, if whatever it is you do advances the agenda of local communities, you're going to be that much more attractive. But even if you're not, if your organization, by way of its support of the community, etc., does things in the form of outreach, make sure you play those up, because again, they're going to be very much points of attraction to a millennial candidate. They're motivated by a work-life balance. And simply put, what that means is that they take the perspective of, I'm here to work hard, but I have a life outside of work. And I want to afforded the opportunity to maintain my personal agenda. And when work begins to impede that agenda or put at risk or compromise things I had planned to do, it's likely that I'm going to probably choose my personal agenda first. But here's what I'm willing to do to get there. Be upfront with me around what's expected of me. Give me enough advance notice so that I can possibly get the assignment done and still attend the personal event that I had already planned. Springing on them at the last minute the need to stay late, or springing on them the last minute, the thing that had just come in. Give them another alternative. Be clear around, here's when this absolutely must get done. If they say, look, it'll be done by that point, but I need to work on it from home because of this thing that I have going on in my personal life, be sure to accommodate that, because what are you allowing to happen? You're allowing them to maintain their personal agenda and get done for you what it is you've asked for them to do. And attraction to the job is largely tied to the community. There's been much written on how, as millennials are giving consideration to opportunities, they're giving consideration beyond just the job itself. They're giving a large amount of consideration to, where is the job? What kind of a life can I have living there, etc.? Now, this is much more pertinent to a full-time employment. From a standpoint of an internship, the intern, the student, is already in the Columbus region attending the university. So, that part is less important, but just, again, important that you understand relative to the consideration around full-time opportunities.